Well, it's a new year and it's time for a new Tomahawk, and we're taking a look today at the Model 2 from American Tomahawk. Well, welcome back, guys. Thanks for joining me on another video here as we break down gear week in, week out here at Gideonstactical and showing you guys pros, cons, so you guys can make wise choices on the gear and the designs, so that when you go out on an adventure, when you're building out a go bag, when you're wanting to hook up somebody for a gift, you know what to expect out of the gear that you're purchasing. And so that's what we're going to do in this video, and we're going to break down the Model 2. We last year reviewed the Model 1, which was an epic, just classic Tomahawk made by American Tomahawk Company. They are in partnership and work with RMJ and come out of that factory, so you're getting some of the best, most premium American made stuff with their brand, which is super cool. And so in this design, it's definitely more of like a wood focused head. It's very Norse, I would say, in its overall design, obviously lacking a spike in this case for a hammer for more outdoor activity and outdoor usage that you would be doing. This one has just over 4 inches of actual cutting edge, so very large beard for you to work with and do different tasks. And what I also noticed is that the overall head is going to be a little bit thicker than some other Tomahawks that you may have as it flares out towards the center. So that is definitely, again, making it almost borderline like a hatchet, still having a lot of lightweight capability and design of a Tomahawk, but you're definitely getting a lot more kind of focusing on the outdoors, focusing on woods processing versus opponent processing. So that's kind of the feel and the vibe with it overall. Made out of 1060 steel, made here in America. 1060 is very shock resistant. It won't hold its edge as long as more premium high carbons that are out there, but it's going to give you not only awesome shock resistance, but when it does come time to resharpen it, it's very easy for you to do. So that is a big benefit right there. Great convex edge that it came with. I was very happy with it. I was able to make feather sticks with it, and because of that beard, you can really choke up and really get to work with the tool, and I like that aspect. It felt like very malleable in the hand, that I could do a lot of work in wood crafting that a lot of other tools, particularly Tomahawks, maybe don't always feel. They feel more like a weapon that you're forcing to do outdoor activity. This one, it feels like it's naturally doing those outdoor activities of shaping the wood for, say, like a spike or something, or a tent peg, doing the different nimble tasks, making, carving if you need to, and using it in that way. It feels a lot more natural in that capability. Now, this is going to be a little bit heavier than the Model 1, its predecessor, coming in at 23.5 ounces. The other one was 20 ounces. And you can tell between the two, you can tell this is a little bit more head heavy, obviously just with the bigger beard and shape, and the thicker pommel that we'll talk about, the hammer, in a moment. But all of that kind of flows together into giving you a little bit more power on the chop. So I was very happy with the chopping capability. You have a good amount of weight behind it for a Tomahawk, and you will be able to easily chop through all types of different wood and other materials that you would come in contact with in the outdoors. It's going to be able to chop well, and so I was very pleased with how the head itself performed, digging into the wood, taking out those chunks, and doing what needs to be done. Now, on the back end, as we move back towards that, the pommel works well to be able to easily, hammer in a tent peg, something like that. Now, some people would argue if I'm going to go Tomahawk, it might make more sense to have a spike like on the Model 1, because then you can do like digging of different types that you can't really execute very well with the pommel. It's not as easy to do. So that's something to kind of consider, is that, but I mean, it will absolutely do any sort of hammering, pommeling, and if you are doing a lot of woodscraft, that may be something that you're trying to do, get very precision. You're tapping in to a certain depth for this, and then you're trying to do that, over here to make a structure, make a particular type of thing that you may be doing. So for those who look for the hammer and wanting to be able to pommel, it absolutely does it. Now you can see here on the head for splitting, it's got that narrow kind of Tomahawk style, a little bit thicker and a little bit more flared than some I've seen, and then bells out, near the mount for the handle. So what that means is for thinner, smaller logs, you can side split them as you are seeing here with ease. You will easily bite in if they're about 2 to 3 inches in diameter max. Not too difficult. You can thwack it in there and give it a good crank, and it will usually split it with only 1 or 2 strikes. So that's a positive. You start getting into larger, I would say maybe 3 to 4 inch, diameter logs, and you expect splitting to kind of be one of the main things that this tool is going to do. I would say a dedicated hatchet is better suited for true splitting. That is the one area where I was kind of like on the fence with, and just didn't see it quite perform like you would expect a hatchet with just that wider, wedge-shaped head to just easily be able to do. So take that as how you expect to use the tool, and whether or not that is something you need the tool to do, well then, or maybe it's not, you're like, nah, I don't really split, for that type of activity, or I bring a full size axe. Okay, great, well then knock yourself out. The chopping though is where I saw the acceleration of the thinner blade impacting the wood and taking bigger, deeper chunks out than some of those fatter, wider heads do. So pros and cons to the overall design. And then the stick design, broom handle designed handle. We have here a really well designed bolt. I've put the Model 1 through the ringer, and it just like keeps on ticking. I love it. Now, I don't recommend using this to throw, and know your warranty, know what would void warranties with these products, so something to be aware of. But I did. I tested it. I'm like, hey, people are going to throw this. I know they are. So let's see how it holds up. Oh, air ball. No. All right, let's try. Let's see. Come on, baby. Edge is in good shape. No rolls or damage like that. And because of that bolt and just the way it's designed, nice and tight, zero rattle on that head. And it held up totally fine. Do it on your own risk. Do it with, knowing that you may, damage something, and it may not be covered under warranty. So just be aware of that. Be smart in how you use and deploy the tool. But it was absolutely able to do that. I obviously need to really work on my skills. My dad's much better at Tomahawk throwing than I am. But the original Model 1 definitely feels a little more nimble, better, and easier to throw, and just those type of styles are gonna be easier for throwing. This one is much more like trying to throw a hatchet. So just take that as well if you're looking to, hurl this a bunch. Just know that it's more like throwing a hatchet, less like throwing an actual like combat tomahawk. Now that is mounted to, in this case, STN66 super tough nylon reinforced handle. So it's super dense, great traction all the way down. Lanyard hole, it's just over 14 inches, which is the same as the Model 1, and is pretty standard for most hatchets and tomahawks in that size range. So something just to be aware of there. That's really like just very standard and what you would expect on most tomahawks. So that's a benefit. And so tough and durable. Now you can get them with hickory handles as well if you want to go more of iconic kind of classic vibe. There is that option. This, I would say, is the toughest, most bomb-proof option you're going to go. You don't have to worry about humidity and dryness and all that stuff that you just have to be aware of with wood. Now, one thing to note with this handle, the way it's designed, very classic, iconic tomahawk, but you do need the lanyard if you're going to do dedicated extended chopping or splitting. You just need that because of the way it's designed. It wants to go out of your hand, and all the weight being up front, and there's no contouring like a hatchet would to better contour to your hand. So you do, for me, I found that like regardless if it was barehanded or with leather gloves, I needed to throw my thumb through there and get a good grip on that lanyard, and then I was able to do 10 swings before I have to kind of reset my grip. Otherwise, if I didn't, it was about 2 to 3 swings before I needed to reset my grip, and it felt like it was wanting to fly out of my hand. And that's just the way a stick, I keep saying stick, but broom handle designed hawk handle is going to be. When a scabbard is excellently executed, the double X, it shows. And this Model 2 has an amazing sheath system, just like the original Model 1 that we tested and reviewed. Full on true Kydex, not some bogus polymer. How many times do we get something that's like, you know, some very cheap synthetic that you can tell it's a nylon, you know, you're just like, oh my gosh, you know, or if it's leather, oftentimes it's just like a blade face, you know, just covers the face. Then you got to come up with some sort of other option to lash it. This is the whole, you know, package, and so well done. So we have our rubberized straps right here that are MOLLE compatible. So this will run through, you know, PALS webbing, your LBE system. You could run it on your back for, you know, someone to deploy for you. You know, you could put it on a pack, those type of things, or you could run it through your belt, obviously, and it would fit really nicely through there. You can unscrew them and adjust them to different points. So if you want a little bit more of a drop or a higher ride, you can do those type of things. Silent. This thing is silent in there. It does have a secondary strap right there with a lockout button as well, and then you got to give it a good little tug, but then it deploys real nice. And then solid, authoritative snap in. I mean, that ain't gonna fall out. Really, the snap is kind of an extra help you out kind of thing. Maybe makes it jump ready. Now you'd have to have, I think it's 3 that you have to be jump ready. But anyway, fantastic, 0 complaints, no need to upgrade, and it runs and works perfectly. So let's go ahead and hit pricing before we really wrap up and talk about, does this Model 2 really makes sense, and if so, where? And so the pricing is going to be about $240 on average. Now I know that's steep. A lot of you are like, whoa, that's kind of pricey. You got to take in consideration, again, we're talking about RMJ manufacturing going into this, the guts of this thing. So you're getting amazing fit and finish. You know, it's made by one of the best Tomahawk companies made right here in America, you know, in existence. And it's got this kind of bridge. You know, it's not like the $400 Tomahawk that RMJ makes, and you're like, I don't know if I'm ever gonna spend $400 on Tomahawk, but it's not like the $30 thing you picked up, you know, at the sporting goods store. That was punched out who knows where across the world, thrown on a shipping container, slapped on a nylon sheath, and threw it there, and like, there you go, hope it lasts you the summer. You know, there's something of like, this is gonna last me forever, and I can literally trust this thing, and you know it's gonna last, keep on ticking, and it's made here in America and has a great reputation. So all those executions and all that, that's some of what you're paying for. Now you can get the Model 1 for about $190, so about $50 less if you're wanting all that, but maybe the spike and the smaller head and just kind of the more lightweight feel, more combat focused feel makes more sense to you. Awesome, then you can save yourself $50 and you can go that route as well. We will have links for you guys below over to Blade HQ, as well as several of our other distributors that you can use in those hyperlinks if these models are connecting with you and making sense. But now comes a moment of truth, and like, how does this fit in? You know, where does this make sense? And I do appreciate them sending this over to me to be able to test out, review, see what it can do, what it can't do, and just give you guys my feeling. That's what I want to do in this video, is give you how I feel about this tool. And to be honest with you, I like the way the head operates and functions. The drawback of it just not really performing in the splitting area is something that I kind of, you know, look at. And then the way that the handle is, though using the cord, it's fine. Having a dedicated, you know, like contoured handle that really, you know, locks you into place, you don't really need a lanyard, is always a benefit if you're doing a lot of wood processing. And so for me, if you were to ask me, hey, are you going to use this the next time you go hiking and backpacking, or are you going to go with maybe say like the Model 1, or say like a hardcore hammer hatchet, 18 inches, that contoured handle, never needed a lanyard on that. Definitely has more of like a wedge head for splitting. It's going to be able to split. Better still, made in America, you know, really good materials on this bad boy. But that's, you know, like a woods focused tool for sure. To be honest, I would actually gravitate more, now having used both, to the Model 1. The main 2 reasons is that the Model 1 gives me something that this and the hatchet, say like the hardcore hammer or whoever, doesn't give me. It gives me a lot of precision and quickness, being 3 ounces lighter, a thinner, you know, more precise connecting point to be able to penetrate material a little bit easier, giving me a spike that does something that, you know, most hatchets have a hammer on the back, you know, that I can pommel, and like, that's fine. I can always chop a baton stick and use that as a hammer if I have to, but the spike gives me an opportunity to maybe do different tasks that something like the Model 2 or an ability that I feel like the Model 1 maybe gives you and is staying true to the feeling of a true Tomahawk, which is really exciting. And that is actually what I would gravitate to if I was going in more this direction, or if I knew, again, that there was just true wood processing needed. The head, I feel like, is very close and could basically do almost everything I would want on a, hiking trip, on a backpacking trip, whatever it would be. But it really comes down to the handle. The handle, a more contoured, natural, handle just stays in your hand longer for the actual long chops and long splits that you're doing for wood processing. But guys, that's my take on it. I look forward to hearing your thoughts on the American Tomahawk and its Model 2 right here that we've been testing today. I want to hear your thoughts. How do you think it makes sense or maybe doesn't? And I look forward to reading all the comments below. I appreciate you guys coming over today, checking out this video. I hope it's been fun and entertaining and giving you the data that you need to make a wise choice. If this tool, the Model 1, or just a dedicated wood hatchet in general for wood processing, is the way to go. And I encourage you to check out the other video popping up, to subscribe if you're not yet a subscriber. And until next time, always remember, stay equipped, stay prepared, and we'll see you out there.